Hello, Michael.
Good morning, Dan. Yeah. Dornbush download.
Number 90.
Into the nervous 90s. Yeah, so a fair bit to talk about today too, Dan. I know you've been out and about at a few conferences.
Of a junket down at another conference. I love those junkets.
Oh, the junkets come in very handy every now and then, that's for sure.
Not as good as your trifles, but...
But yes, no, I know you. So you've got a fair bit to talk about there today.
A few interesting little companies there to have a bit of a chat about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But no, certainly one that we've had a bit of a look at, and Westpac shareholders should have recently received an invite to participate in the capital notes number 4 issue. At face value, Dan, looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Pretty
nice, healthy margin. So again, one of these securities, basically, Westpac are going to pay a margin above the bank bill rate. In this particular case, Westpac's offering 4.9 to 5.1%. History tells us that it's always the lower one, so we could expect the 4.9% above the bank bill rate. Bank bill rate at the moment is tracking at about 2%. So, with a bit of franking included, we're looking at about 6.9% on these. So,
a lot better than a term deposit, isn't it? Unbelievable how they've come off, Michael.
Oh, absolutely, yes. No, that last interest rate cut really knocked the stuffing out of TD rates, that's for sure.
Yep.
So a few extra percent income on some of these things does look very appealing. We did put in for an allocation for clients, but we got severely scaled back, around about 70% scale back it was.
Yeah,
so.
and that just, it comes on the back of a cut in interest rates, doesn't it? So people are certainly chasing those higher yields at the moment.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, so if you are a Westpac shareholder and you've received, your little slip, and you're looking at chasing up some of these, unfortunately, yes, we're probably not going to be able to get any for you, so you may have to just go through the general offer and see how you go.
Yeah.
But they were worth a chase up, that's for sure.
Especially on that yield, yeah.
Yeah, very true. So, and Dan, so you've been out and about?
I've been out and about, Michael. It was quite interesting. It wasn't such a smaller company. It was more, I suppose, industrials. Jeff Wilson, we just recently looked at emerging leaders. He's got some, I think, around 300 million now to spend and get that listed investment company up and running.
Yeah.
He seems to do a pretty good job, doesn't he, with his management there. Very interesting ones, though, Michael. Jumbo Interactive, it's just online lottery ticket sales.
Oh, okay.
Amazing. Yes. Currently, they've only got 12% of the market. International numbers tell them the potential to get 50% of the market, so that's quite interesting. But they've also just established in Germany. So they're really chasing market share in Germany now. So that could be a good sort of revenue and income stream flowing into their into that company.
Yeah. And I guess the traditional sort of TATS and Tabcorp type gambling companies we've seen, they've been reasonably defensive over the years.
They have so much competition in that space now, Michael, isn't there? With these online gaming companies coming in, and especially the international ones coming here. So there's a lot of competition there now, I think.
Absolutely.
Antara Life Sciences, really interesting. They want to get antibiotics out of the food system, and pigs take a lot of antibiotics because they're all in sheds under a roof, and if it gets into one stall, it goes right through all the different stalls. So this is a diarrhea fix, I suppose.
Nice.
Lovely, isn't it? But the main ingredient comes from pineapples. So.
Oh, there you go.
So that's an interesting one. Antara Life Sciences. Kina Securities, a little bank in Papua New Guinea. Our capital adequacy, and that's why Westpac is raising that money to help with their capital adequacy. In Australia, banks have got to have about 12%. These guys have got 37% without even trying. So it's amazing. So just from cash deposits held there. Only in the PNG population, though, only 20% of the population have access to banking at the moment.
Isn't that extraordinary?
Unbelievable. So as that grows, you'd think that this will grow with it.
And it is a country, albeit with a lot of political risk, I guess, but it's a country that's just full of natural resources.
Unbelievable.
Just extraordinary.
I think they've started Octedi again. I think they've started remining.
Yeah,
it's growing. And Gen X Power was another interesting one. It'll take a while to come online, but looking at renewable energies, they've got 50 or 150 megawatts of solar approved. They're going to start with 50 megawatts, but that won't be coming online until Q4 2017. But it's called Kidman, the Kidman Gold Mine, which I suppose is on a bit of a triangle west of Townsville and Cairns. Two big holes in the ground. So what they're going to do is join those holes up, put a turbine underneath the ground and run the water from the larger hole down through into the lower hole, and so to generate power in peak times, and they can bring that power online in about 40 minutes, and that's, we see that with the gas companies in Western Queensland there.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
so they're just using the same water and just flushing it through the
and then pump it back up at night in the lower electricity costs. So
amazing.
Pretty amazing. That would take a while to come online though. So yeah, very interesting what's happening out there at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's great, isn't it? And yeah, a lot of these little companies, they sort of tick away in the background. Before you know it, they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled in price, and
off they go.
Yeah, there's some really good little businesses out there. One that I've been having a look at, Virtus Health. Stock code VRT. It's been listed now for a few years, but basically into IVF. Basically providing services to couples that are having difficulty conceiving. They own IVF Australia, Melbourne IVF, the Queensland Fertility Group. And I think too they just bought one down in Canberra as well, but they do have a few others there that just escape the mind at the moment. But market cap around about 500 million, so it's certainly not a penny dreadful. It's part of the top 200. Dividends about 4.5%, which is good, and certainly for a healthcare company where dividends are typically pretty light on.
2.1.
It's not too bad. A little bit of debt on the balance sheet. Debt to equity is about 60%. We'd like to see that a little bit lower. And also there's negative retained earnings, so that's a little bit of a worry, but they're hoping that will be cleared off the books in the next couple of years. Yeah. But revenues around about 250 million, profitability or profit around about the $30 million mark. So yeah, and certainly some of the themes for IVF look reasonably strong. Couples are now tending to have children later on in life. Yes. Yep. And of course, for some people, it just doesn't happen for them straight away. So,
has the price come down?
No, the price is still pretty full. Yep. So PE's around about 19 times at the moment. So not super great value, but good earnings growth forecasts. So hopefully, they can continue on their merry way, and the themes go with them. But VRT, one in that healthcare sector that we're having a bit of a look at, but and maybe one to pick up on a bit of weakness perhaps. So.
Very good.
And I guess interest rates too, Dan. We've been having a bit of a chat about those as well. We saw the cut there, a few weeks ago. And I guess too, leading into the US election, and of course US interest rates, they're talking up as well. So.
There's a bit of a train of thought there that, if Trump gets in, their Fed Reserve will just start to ramp up rates, probably because they don't like him. Where if Clinton gets in, they're from the same party, so it'll be a slow sort of ramp up. So it's going to be really interesting what happens over there, isn't it?
Gee, we love the arm's length sort of decisions, don't we? But it's an interesting one with and we were only talking about it before. Apparently, there's a pretty damning video out about the Clintons and about their foundation and a few other bits and pieces, which could sort of hinder Hillary and her run for the presidency. So it'll be interesting to have a bit of a bo peep.
It just keeps evolving, doesn't it? Yep. It's sort of like Comedy Channel.
It is, yeah. You don't know whether one's any better than the other. No. But
and I suppose too, Michael, after our elections, we're going to really have to consider superannuation and pensions that transition to retirement, depending on which party gets in. So there's going to be a lot to consider for people in retirement or coming up to retirement in the next few months.
Yeah, very true, Dan. Yeah, that low interest rate environment's going to keep obviously savings levels in TDs right down. So people will need to be looking at other options to help fund things. But there was a lot brought up in the budget, and we've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of nervous people, and no real surprise, of course. But yeah, it's still very early days. We've got the election to get out of the way.
Yep.
This legislation's then got to be passed through the Senate. So history tells us that certainly not everything gets through, and if we look in the last couple of years, probably only 20 to 30% of the stuff's gotten through. So, but yeah, come in and have a chat if you're a bit worried about things. But it's still very early days in that regard.
Yep. I reckon that sums up number 90.
Mate, I think we've done pretty well.
Cheers.
Thank you.